Hi Scrappers, it's Kat, Myscrappinmama. I am bringing you another video today, and this one is how to make a trifold card. So this is a card that you would put a tea light in back behind. I don't have any tea lights. Well, I do, but I don't know where they are. So you would put a battery operated tea light. This is similar to my last video where we made a card with vellum, so you could put a tea light behind it. So this card right here, it uses Close to My Heart cardstock, glitter cardstock, some enamel dots. I've got a piece of vellum in here where I have done some heat embossing with Ranger's gold tinsel. See that pretty shine on there? So it's gold embossing powder with like glitter in it. And then I used some enamel dots that I had that are gold, and I stamped a sentiment. So the card stands up like this. Whoops! So the card's going to stand up like this. So your recipient, you can fold it this way for them to get it. So they'll open it up and they'll be like, oh my goodness, what do I do? Why does it have these dots here? So I think it best if on the back you put a little post-it note with it and say, put a little battery tea light behind me, and then the light shines through and it's really pretty. So if you look out on my Facebook page and just search for me on Facebook at Myscrappinmama, and you will find me. And you'll see some pictures that I took with one of my solar lights behind it, but it's very pretty. So this is a super easy card to make if you're not going to be using the die cut window. Now, because I'm using the die cut window and I want to put a tea light behind it, you don't have to. You can make this all solid. I am doing some die cutting. It does take some time, so I've already started on that. And part of the die cutting is that you have to get everything centered just so that everything lines up. Because as you can see that vellum from the back as well. So all the holes are lined up. There's 3 layers there plus the vellum. So you want to get that all lined up. So it's about 4 layers actually. So we're going to get started. I'm going to give you the dimensions. So the dimensions on this, the base is 4.5 by 12, and I've already pre-cut one and I've scored it. So it scores at 4 and 4. And I've got a little bit of ink there. Let me get that off with my... If you do not have one of these erasers, they're fabulous. They do have them in our catalog, and I'm sure you can get them other places. They're really cool rubber. I use them to get ink, like little pencil marks off. They're great. Okay, so you score that at 4 and 4. Then you have 2 pieces of foil. So you're going to have 2 pieces of foil. And the foil or glitter, the foil is going to be at 4 and 3 3/4. And then you need 2 pieces of white cardstock, and those are going to be 3 3/4 by 3 1/2. And then you need a piece of vellum, and the vellum should be 4 by 3. So I've already got my vellum, I've got all my layers together, and I've kind of got stuff all over the place. But anyway, so I went ahead and started doing some of my die cutting because this is the part that takes the longest, at least for me it does. Because you want to get all your holes lined up together. So what I did is I went ahead and ran this through my Cuttlebug with my B and my C plate, I believe. Yes, B and C plates. And I just ran it through, and what it did is it cut the top layer, which is what I wanted, but it made a really good impression on the foil and a really good impression on my cardstock here. Now I can actually go back through with the die, and I know that it's all going to be lined up perfectly because it put a really nice impression on there. So you can just feel it and feel where the die needs to go. So when I do that, I don't add any extra layers in my sandwich. But when I'm cutting one single layer out with a Spellbinders die, which is what I'm using, I always add a piece of scratch. So this is a piece of scratch packaging that I had. So I put that through my Cuttlebug, and I run it back through a second time, just to make sure that it's really cut all the way through. And it did. So now I'm going to have some perfect lineup. And then when you're done, you get this cute little piece here. You don't want to throw that away. Now in these Spellbinders dies, they are very intricate. So I have some excess cardstock here and these small parts of the dies. So I'm just poking those out with my tweezers or whatever tool you have to poke those out. Okay, so next I'm going to do my foil. So my foil piece also has a really nice impression, so I can lay my die right on top of there, and I know exactly where it goes because I can feel it. It's made its way into the grooves. So again, this is a single layer, so I'm going to add just a little piece of packaging, and this is heavier than cardstock but lighter than chipboard. So it was packaging insert. So let me check this, make sure I got a good, oh, perfect. Okay, so now it's time to put the Cuttlebug away. So just be careful, especially when you make your sandwiches with these Spellbinders dies, that you don't break your Cuttlebug and have too many layers and too much thickness that you break it, because that would be sad. Okay, so I'm going to put my die away, and I got this cute little piece here for another project. Okay, so now I'm going to start making my layers. It seems like I may have, like this piece of foil is too big. I don't know what I was doing there, so I need to cut that down. So that's going to be 4 3 3/4. So let me see where I'm at here. I'm at 4. Oh boy, that went way too big. Okay, so there's 4, and it needs to be 3 3/4. Okay. Love, 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 close to my heart, foiled paper. It is really good quality cardstock. And it's almost a mirror. I can just about see myself. Just love it. Okay, so I've got my layers there. And then, let's see here, my foil piece is right here. And then I have my back layer. So I am ready to start my embossing. I think first though, I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom piece here. Get those pieces out of the way. I have a tendency to lose things. So. Okay. So when this comes down, it's going to be right on top of here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my adhesive down. And I'm just using a tape runner. You use whatever adhesive you want. Just make sure it's a good, strong adhesive. So you want to line this up so that it is even. Oops. Got it a little too high up there. Here we go. So that's going to be my base piece. And then this is the other base that's going to go on here. So I'm going to go ahead and get my sentiment stand. I'm going to use my candy apple red. Put my little mat down. And if I'm going too fast, I apologize. This is long because of the heat embossing and the die cutting, so I'm trying to go a little quicker than I usually do. So because you're going to have your stand, you want to put your sentiment as far to the bottom as you can. Okay, and there it is. That's Merriest Wishes. Close my ink up. I am done with that. So now I can go ahead and apply this to my base. And you really want to use, on this part, you want to go around all the way around the edges with your adhesive, because this is what's going to help the card stand up. So you want to make sure you have a good strong bond. Okay, so now I will go ahead and where I've scored here at 4, go ahead and do this part. Okay, So it's coming together so quick and easy, I'm telling you. The embossing is going to be the long part. Okay, so I'm going to do my heat embossing, and I did have, there we go, there's my little piece. So I'm going to use snowflakes. So I've got this all inked up. Now you really want to cluster them mainly in the middle, because that is where your opening is. Depending on what kind of opening you're using with your die cut, you could just use a circle or a square. So I'm just kind of clustering these right around here. And I'm trying to work quickly so that my Versamark doesn't dry. My home is very, very dry right now because the furnace is non-stop. It is so darn chilly in our house. Okay, so I think that's good. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to use the Ranger Silver Tinsel. So this is a silver embossing powder, and it has glitter in it. So you always want to make sure you're pouring this over something to catch the excess, because you want to put it back. Be ashamed to waste all of that. And I had already pre-prepped my vellum. Here, but I still have some strays. Vellum, you know, for some reason it gets very staticky. Then I have a sweater on, and you know how that is. So okay, so that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and pour that back inside. There are some really fancy little trays that you can buy for this, and I wish I had them, but then I would have to, in order to fill the tray up, I would have to buy this probably several more of them, so I haven't bought it. And a little piece of paper works just fine for me, a piece of folded cardstock. So now, if you haven't done a lot of embossing on vellum, you know that you want to keep your heat tool moving, and you don't want to scorch your vellum. So I'm going to keep moving my heat tool around until my embossing powder changes colors. But I don't want to get it too hot, because then it will scorch my paper. So it just, you can really see it changing. So pretty. So it's just this kind of tinfoil color when it goes on the Versamark, and then when you heat it up, it is a gorgeous silver. Okay, so I think that'll be good. Let me put this over. Oh, that's perfect. See, I have just enough snowflakes in there. Okay, so now we're going to start assembling. So you're going to put your vellum back behind your foil piece, okay? So I am going to be generous with my tape around my die cut part, and then I'm just going to lay this right on top like so, so you can see. So it does have just a little bit sticking out, so I'm just going to trim that off. No one's going to see it or know the wiser. Okay, pretty, pretty, pretty. This piece right here is going to line up, so it should be right there in the center, and it matches perfectly because of how we did our die cutting. So I'm going to apply my adhesive generously, because your card's going to get a lot of action. You know, people are going to be amazed. Wow, how'd they do that? Okay, so I'm just going to set this down, line it up just gently, and I'm just going to turn it over and make sure I've got it lined up good, and I do. and then I'm going to press it down. Now I have my other piece of cardstock that's going to go on top. And again, I want to use some good adhesive because this is going to get a lot of handling. And hopefully your card is saved and is brought out year after year. So make sure you write a really nice sentiment in there. Everybody loves to get a handwritten note, or if you don't want to, put a little piece of paper note in there, but make sure you sign it. And always sign the back of your cards and date them. Okay, so I'm going to line this up. My gosh, it lines up perfectly. And so there we have it. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and put my enamel dots down, and we are almost done, folks. This was so easy, wasn't it? So you want your card, and you want to make sure you have enough room for your candle to go inside of here. So I'm going to put my dots right here and here, just right above my sentiment. So I'm going to use the big ones. So I'm going to turn this around so I can see what I'm doing here. I'll put that one right there. And then I've got another one to go about right here. Make sure they're lined up. Okay, so that looks beautiful. So now I'm going to take and use some of my smaller ones and do some accenting. So you could do this card in any color scheme that you wanted. You could do monochromatic. You could do all, all the same color. You could have as many colors as you want. You could do all your layers in different colors. Whoops. It's just totally up to you. There we go. This is beautiful, you guys, in person. Wow, amazing. So I need to go ahead and do my fold again there. And I'm going to get this fold again. Okay. So there we go. It stands up all by itself. There's plenty of room in here for a candle. Look at that. It's been heat embossed. You have your sentiment that's stamped on there. It's just beautiful. I will be sure to take another picture of this and upload it to my Facebook page at Myscrappinmama. You could probably also search me under catherine.ctmh.com on Facebook as well. I post a lot of images there, and I also put them on Instagram. So anyway, this is so beautiful, you guys. When you use quality materials, you take your time, you get a really quality result. And a card like this, easy, $7, $8, maybe $10 from Hallmark. Definitely don't have that much into it. It didn't take that much time. I do encourage you though to practice doing this and practice your die cutting before you use your good materials such as your good foils and stuff, just to make sure you've got the hang of it. So again, let me give you the dimensions, and I will also put them down in the comments. This base right here is 4.5 by 12. Then my foiled paper here, or cardstock, or glitter cardstock, or some other cardstock that you want to use, is going to be 4 3/4, and you're going to need 2 of those. That's this piece and I'm sorry, that's this foiled piece and this foiled piece. Okay, so that's 4 by 3 3/4. Then you're going to need these 2 white pieces here. That's 3 3/4 by 3 1/2. Then your vellum, to start out with, you want to make it 4 by 3, and then you trim it as needed when you're assembling. So you don't see anything on the back. Your foil is going to go behind, or your vellum is going to go behind the foil, and then you put this white piece on top. So again, when I did my die cutting for this, I sandwiched it all together. So I had, and this is just a trial run that I did earlier. So I had my cardstock, my foil, and then another piece of cardstock on top, and I put that through with my die cut. And if your Cuttlebug or whatever machine you're using it's too hard for it to crank, don't crank it because you'll break it. And I think the Geminis and the Spellbinders machines and stuff that are electric will just take it with no problem. But just be careful with your Cuttlebug, okay? And then that makes an impression, and then I can run it through and I know that everything's lined up good. So I hope that this has inspired you. If you want to see other videos on how to make these Tealight trifold cards, they are all over YouTube. So I encourage you to go watch, learn, be inspired. And I will be back tomorrow, hopefully, God willing, if not tomorrow, Saturday, with another video. I have some more cards up my sleeve that I want to show you because I am just having so much fun making my Christmas cards this year. Just really going to town. So again, if you'd like to order, my website is catherine.ctmh.com. I do make a commission off all my sales. This month through November 30th, you can join for free, just pay shipping and handling on your kit when you join Close to My Heart. It's $100, $75 for the kit, $25 for shipping, and after you become a consultant, after you're accepted and you've paid your $100, Close to My Heart will send you a electronic code to redeem $75 in product. So essentially you're only paying for the shipping and handling for your kit, and then you will get a 22% commission on all of your orders with no minimums until your first quarter ends, and that's after 90 days. And then there's more about that if you'd like to know. I'd be happy to go over it with you, be happy to have you join my team. But if it's something you've been thinking about, even just to get the discount for yourself, I say go for it this month. This does not come around often at all. I don't know that this has come around at all this past year. This is the first time. It's Fund Your Fun. So go to my site and look up Become a Consultant, and you'll see all the details. Okay, so once again, these are my Tealight cards. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I appreciate you watching. Leave your comments below. Bye-bye. Have a good night.